with how you go about dealing with these things. So again, I've written that little box there to show you basically what you need to do. You need to think about those things. Kids never want to do those steps, and then they say, I don't know how to do these problems. And I say, well, did you go through the steps? And they say, no. And I found myself wondering why you don't make the connection between not being able to do something and not doing it. That would be kind of like saying, I don't know how to ride a bike, but never actually getting on a bike. So, we are going to fix this problem now by going through this. Now I say, identify what you are looking for. Write let statements to identify your variables accordingly. Ooh, that sounds very mathy. Here is all it means. 1. Choose variables. 2. Name variables. 3. Decide what those variables are doing. So, step 1, choose variables. Well, let's read the question. The sum of two numbers is 176. Their difference is 48. Find the numbers. Well, we know that a variable is something that is unknown, yes? So what is unknown in this question? The numbers are what is unknown. So have we chosen our variable thing? Yes. I have number 1 and I have number 2, don't I? Did I choose my variables? Yep. So now I got to name them. What should I name them? X and Y, because that's what we like to use. N1 equals X, N2 equals Y. Now, what are those variables doing? Well, the sum is 176. What math is sum? Adding. So X plus Y equals what? 176. Their difference is 48. What math is difference? X minus Y equals 48. And now all of a sudden we can easily solve this. Every single systems word problem is exactly the same. They are all that question. So they are all easily done. Right? Doesn't matter how long the paragraph is, doesn't matter how flowery the language is. There's two unknown things for which you are searching. Math is being done to those unknown things. Write out the unknown things, write out the math that's being done to them, solve the system. Is it possible to do in your head? Not very well when you have not practiced it to death. Is it easy to do when you write it out? Very. So I would suggest writing it out. Gerard.
In a case like this, would it matter which one was the X and which was
Of course not. It would never matter. Because they are unknown. There is a rule of thumb I like to give. I like to make my lowest value X. But that's just me. So when you do like an age question, I make the lower value X. But that's just me. So how are you going to solve that? What are you going to use? You can use any one of the three. What one will you probably not use? Yeah, you're not going to use graphing because the numbers are big, right? So you're not going to do graphing. So what are you going to use? Is it already set up for one of them? Which one? Elimination, right? What's going to eliminate? Y when you do what? Add them. So what are you going to get? 2x equals, add this up, 4, carry the 1, 2, carry the 1, 224. So what is x? 112. And once you have x, you know y, correct? Doesn't matter which one you use, you can figure it out. Everybody good? What is y? 64. N1 and N2. Everyone got it? Now, I would like to take 1 second to show you something, if you would be so kind as to indulge me. Here was the system we had, yes? Everyone agree? Cool? Everyone okay with what I just did there? Yeah? Yeah? Everyone okay with what I did there? What did I just do? I made them both equal y, correct? So if they both equal y, what does that mean they're also equal? Themselves. Right? Now you could solve it that way as well. It's kind of a mix of elimination and substitution. Picking up what I'm putting down? It's just another tool to put in your mathematical tool belt if you wish. You need not use it. That's why I didn't say, everybody write this down. Just showing you. Cool? Okay. So, in our next one, read the question silently to yourself. Decide on the things that are unknown. Name them. Then assign them variables. Then build your system. So step 1, what is the unknown stuff? Chocolate bars and pop. So my unknowns are chocolate and pop. What would you like to give them for variables? Do they have to be x and y? What could we give them? You could give c and p. Could you be crazy and give them J and L? Of course, it doesn't matter. Chocolate is C, pop is P. Have I chosen my unknowns? Yes. Have I named my variables? Yes. Now I have to do the math. 4 chocolate bars. 4C. And plus 3P equals 5.3. Yeah?
If we made the pop an O, it'd be 4C.
And 2C plus P equals 2.2. Yeah? Who wants to deal with decimals? Nobody. Can you get rid of those decimals? How? I could make them into fractions, but you guys are usually worse with fractions. How do I get rid of this decimal? Pardon? Multiply by 10. If I multiply this guy by 10, what do I got to do to these guys? Multiply by 10. So could I have 40, 30, and 53? Would it still work? Of course it would. Do I care which way you do it? Of course not. What if it's the no calculator section of the test? Should you leave it in decimals? I wouldn't, if I were you. If I was in the no calculator section, I would go to decimals. If I were you. If I were me, I'd leave it as decimals. You understand? Picking up what I'm putting down? So again, I don't care how you do it, but this is an interesting one. What would you do? Remember how I said sometimes substitution is your friend? I think this is one of those times. I would use substitution here. Why? Because when I got to multiply these to change it so I can eliminate, I got to multiply decimals. And I might screw that up. You understand what I'm saying? So what I would do here is I would go P equals 2.2 minus 2C. And then I would do substitution. Because in this case, in my mind, substitution works better. Do you have to agree with me? Of course not. Can you go ahead and solve this with elimination if you want? Yeah. I don't care. That's up to you. Could you do the trick I just showed you? Could you make them both equal P? That's not really doable, is it? Because this is a 3P. Right? Understand? So go ahead and solve it, however you see fit. I personally am going to work the substitution angle. Also, that allows me to show you elimination and substitution throughout these notes. I don't know where these people are buying their chocolate bars and pop. But that's some cheap eats. Good? Number 3. I didn't give you a lot of room. So, step 1, choose your variables. What are the 2 variables?
Startup fee and
Startup fee and monthly fee. So there's start and month. Name them. Pardon? Sure. Now what math is happening? After 1 month, she's paid $260. So that means she's paid the startup fee, which is what? S plus how many months? 1 month equals $260. After 6 months, how many startup fees has she paid? No, after 6 months, how many startup fees has she paid? 1, still 1, but how many M's now? 6 months. And what does that equal? $435. And then, boom, however you want. Is this one that you could do that little trick I showed you? Make them both S. I could, couldn't I? Couldn't I say that S equals 260 minus M and S equals 435 minus 6M? And if they both equal each other, then doesn't 260 minus m have to equal 435 minus 6m? Then we can solve for m, can't we? Again, you don't have to do this. I'm just showing you all the possibilities on this page that I can think of for solving these. So, of course, that is 7m equals 185. Is that right? Calculator, someone, 435 minus 260? 175. So what's the monthly fee? $25. Then I can take that and put it right in there and get my startup fee. 260 minus 25 is 235. So startup fee 235, monthly fee 25. What? When I move the 6, oh, it should have been 5, yeah, because it was negative 1 plus 6. Yeah, it should have been 5. So the startup fee is really 20 and 15 is really 35. So it's 225 to start up and 35 a month. Thanks, Supreet. Now, all of those are practice, because the provincial exam is almost always this question for the systems. Almost always. Because it requires you to actually understand a bit of math beyond solving a system. But we follow the same rules. 1. What are the two unknowns? No, a year is not unknown. It's a year. Read the question. Kobe. How much he invested at each. So there's two investments, isn't there? There's investment 1 and investment 2. Now I have to give them names, yeah? Well, they're both I and I. So let's go X and Y, correct? Now, what do we know about these investments? Kobe. Okay, so they both earn some interest. That's one thing. So we know that 8% per year. 8% in math is nothing. What is 8% really when we write it out? 0.08. 0.08x and 0.1y, my two investments equal what? This is where it gets tricky. No. 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 190. Because this is the interest, so the interest adds to 190. Do we have a system yet? No, but is there a number that we haven't taken care of yet? 2,000. What is the 2,000? How much he invested. So isn't that investment 1 plus investment 2 to get 2,000? Does everybody understand? What's ugly about this? Decimals. Should you get rid of them? I always do, especially if it's the no calculator part. So what would this really be? 8x plus 10y equals 19,000. Because you multiplied by 100, didn't you? So you got to add 2 zeros. Now do you have a system that you can easily solve? What choice will you use to solve it? Whatever one you want, yeah? I'll leave it up to chance. If I roll an even number, I will do elimination. If I roll an odd number, I will do substitution. Even. So that is elimination. Is elimination a good one for this? It's not the best, but I'm going to do that anyway. Why? Because I care. I want you to see that it is doable. So if I'm going to eliminate, one of these has to be -8 or -10, yeah?
Yeah.
Does it matter which one?
No.
No. So I'm going to get rid of the x. So I'm going to multiply this guy by -8. So I'm going to get -8x, -8y equals -20, no, dummy, -16,000. And then I'm going to combine. The x's are going to drop out. 2y is going to equal 3,000. Yes? What does y equal? 1,500. Once I have y, do I know x? Yep. What is x? What is x? 500. So he invested 500 bucks at 0.8, and he invested 1,500 at 0.1. Okay? Everybody with me?
Yeah.
This question seems to confuse kids because there's all this talk of interest and blah-diddy, 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 all this stuff that you don't really understand, and you won't really understand it until you take either Foundations of Math next year or Pre-Calculus next year or IB. All of that has financial math in it. Okay? But this question has nothing to do with finance, does it? It's just a system. The fancy words in it mess with your head. But there's no need, because it's just a system. Everybody good? Any questions? Okay.